Good evening, everyone. Welcome here to the Flatout Racing Network's coverage of race number 4 of season 59 of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge. As we're here for the second time this season under the lights at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. I'm Seth Cole alongside of Michael Norman. And Michael, we ended up seeing last year around the early portion of the season a lot of maybe the mid-pack drivers, the underdog stories take place. This year has been the complete opposite. A lot of the drivers, a number of former champions have gotten that early checkered flag. Chuck McClure, Grant Wesley, and Tim Nofsker, the 3 drivers so far that have secured themselves spots in the playoffs. Do we continue that trend here tonight, maybe with those former champs finding victory lane, or is this where we see the underdog story for the first time this year?
Well, it's hard to say, Seth, because honestly, tracks like this, you never know where a winner is going to come from. Yeah, the last couple of races, experience has been a key factor to those going in victory lane here, but you've got to set your car up to be at the right place and the right time. And, here at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway, this one, it's a little difficult to run the inside, so it's going to be probably about the middle to high lane that you'll see most of the moves being made, and that's where you can position yourself to try to win this race.
Another race, another full field here as well. 40 drivers going to take the green flag. The biggest thing that there's been, I think, about this season so far is with the high number of car count fields we've had, there's been a lot of points on the table for drivers that haven't yet found victory lane but are trying to point their way into the top 12 for a playoff position.
Yep, and that's top 12 is going to be the key here. You're going to see these drivers racing hard to try to get into, or at least get a win inside the top 20 to be a part of that, to be a part of the playoffs later this season. It's what these drivers are going for. With only a limited number of spots, not everybody can make it in.
Getting ready for another 66 lap event here tonight. With there being the 40 trucks in the field, we're going to go through the starting lineup right now. Bob Seminara.
Hey, hurry up and get on track.
So for the pole sitter, it's Bob Seminara. His first pole of the season via the random qualifying. He's alongside of Glenn Harris. They're at the front row. Josh Metallic and Dante Ricky. They're in row 2. Row 3.
You talk about experience and other former champions. There are a lot of them starting up towards the front of the pack.
That's true. Seminara, former champ. Josh Metallic, a former champ. You got Craig Hagley and Milt Surratt there in row 3. Ken Roberts, Donnie Garrett, who had a great run last week, had that podium finish that jumped him up, I believe it was 16 spots in the standings. He's going to be in the outside of row number 4. And Greg Palmer and Bob Dixon, they're going to complete the top 10. Ron Hagley and Jessica Shelton, they're back in row 6. Row 7, Jerm Lewis and Bernie Mobbs. Row 8 is where we find JT Mayhew and Cy Jones. Brian Ronson, he shares row 9 with Nathan Balser, and then the top 20 completed by Bobby Farrell and Chris Emery. 21st is Tom Dixon, Joe DeSpirito, quite a ways back. He'll be in 22nd. 23rd place, we find Grant Wesley. Mike Rogers completes the outside of row 12. Mark Paglia, he's in row 13 with last week's winner, Tim Nofsker. Doug Ulick, who has a victory here at this racetrack. That was last season. He's going to roll off the grid from the 27th position with Dave Melson to his outside in row 14. And then Rodney Selvins and Brian Schilling, they're going to complete the top 30. Richard Martin, he's 31st. Mike Mangialardi making his first start on the season. He's going to be on the outside of row 16. Then it's Robbie Nices and Wiley Cope back in row 17. Row 18, Jeff Crivello and Jason Scheck. Row 19, Terry Bombard and Jeremy Jeffries pretty deep in the field. And the final row will be Billy Elliser and Keith Bynum. With the bigger fields, Michael, we've also ended up seeing some bigger wrecks, kind of untimely wrecks for some drivers. Is that going to be the case here tonight? If based off of what you've seen the last couple of weeks, are you maybe trying to strategize for a race that might see 2, 3, 4 cautions rather than for the long green flag run and potential green flag pit stops?
Well, again, it's hard to actually tell because we've seen races go green almost all the way to races where there's a caution every 5 laps or so after a restart. So you never know what's going to happen here. To me, these drivers are all experienced enough that they can make it work. But a lot of times, a lot of the cautions we've seen are mainly just either something to do with a hitbox issue or somebody with warping. So I feel like these guys can keep it green for a good long while.
Green flag in the air, and yeah, to your point, I believe it was last year we actually ran a completely green 66 lap event here at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. So we'll see if that's going to be the case here tonight as Seminara out of turn number 2, jumps up to that middle line, opens up the door there for Josh Metallic. Little ways back to Glenn Harris, not going to get the push he needs just yet. Those two are going to draw even, the 39 and 712 going into turn 3.
Oh, the A-car going to try maybe to... I think he might have mis-entered the corner there, almost made it 3 wide. Luckily that Dante was allowed him back in. Now it's going to be Metallic going to get the run on the inside here. You'll see the inside. Oh, there he goes. Dante's not going to cut him any more slack now.
Yeah, the door was open. Dante Ricky stuck his foot in up the middle. Glenn Harris is going to start falling to the back, or is he? Oh, contact between the 84 and the 8. That was close.
Yeah, it is way too early for that, boys.
Get it settled out. Dante's going to slot in front of Glenn Harris. It looked like for a moment Ken Roberts was going to jump up to the 3rd lane to help Glenn Harris there when they were over in 3 and 4. But they've now gotten back to double file formation. There is a 3rd line forming back there mid-pack. That's Grant Wesley. I see Mark Paglia up there.
Does that
Doug
surprise
Kulik.
you?
No, not at all. And remember, too, Grant Wesley, Chuck McClure's not in the field tonight, but Grant Wesley and Tim Knopfsker, they've got to win. And both of them are up inside the top 5 in the point standings. Grant's actually the points leader, so you can be aggressive. You've got that luxury.
Boy.
As Greg Palmer jumps up in front of Wesley, Ken Roberts jumps up in front of Greg Palmer. A lot of drivers noticing that extreme outside line is moving.
Yep, and to the outside, we'll see how the middle lane's going to form. Oh, the Donnie Garrett. Oh, there it goes, right there. Right in the middle of the field. That is going to... Oh, Grant West, that's everybody.
That's a lot of drivers. Wesley Sullins, Glenn Harris was airborne for a time. Jessica Shelton, Bernie Mubbs. They're still wrecking back there. Milt Surratt.
I don't see a lot of damage, though.
No, honestly, it looked like very harmless contact for the most part. The 8 was on top of the 88, who is still up against the wall there, I think waiting for an opportunity to turn his truck around rather than come down in front of traffic. But that would maybe be my one concern, is maybe possible roof damage, maybe damage on the hood for the 88. But, yeah, I mean, for the most part, to be honest, it almost looked initially like that wreck was in slow motion.
Yeah, it did, and I'm looking, and I'm kind of trying to see it here. Milt Surratt kind of drifts up a little bit off of turn number 2. Donnie Garrett looked like he hit the apron, and I don't know if maybe the 80 thought he was there, tried to give him room, but came right up into the 8 car, and then everything looked good. The 88 looks like he probably missed it, but then he got hit from behind, and it was just everybody trying to check up. Jessica Shelton almost flipped over, but stayed on all 4 wheels there. She just barely got clipped, and the 8 car is on top of the 31. It's just melee down the back straight. This almost reminded me of the 2002 Busch Series wreck, except nobody actually flipped over.
Couple of near ones there, though. Mike Rogers, Brian Schilling, Robbie Nisus. I see Billy Ellis are back there. Oop, late hit there. Keith Bynum into Mike Mangialardi.
I'm going to say, Seth, me and you were old, so we both got to remember that wreck back in 2002.
Honestly, I don't remember it.
Wow.
You have to remember that for me, from what would it have been, from probably when I started following NASCAR in 2002 to I think 2007, most of my knowledge of NASCAR was actually via radio. I did not actually see a televised race, I don't think, until the 2007 Daytona 500.
All right, guys, you heard it here. Seth Cole is old.
As if that was a secret.
Old school, that is. Oh. I guess
another angle
that didn't save me there, did it?
No, not really. It was a valiant attempt, but I'll give you an A for effort. JT Mayhew back there got collected, but again, like you alluded to, very minor contact, if any at all. Like very light contact, which spun these trucks around. I didn't see anything that looked like it's going to take any of these drivers out.
Ron Hagelin is the race leader right now.
Bob Seminara took the caution as the leader, and he hit pit road, as did pretty much most of the field. It looks like 9 drivers stayed out. We'll see if they continue to stay out or if they come to pit road under this second lap of pacing. We got Hagelin, Glenn Harris, Ryan Ronson, Jeff Crivello, Robbie Nice is the top 5, then Milt Surratt, Cy Jones, Jason Scheck, and Tom Dixon. This could be strategy in 2 ways. It might have been strategy to be the first car that stayed out, get the bonus point for a lap led under caution, and then come to pit road, or could be the I don't want to be up at the front, so let me stay out this lap, come to pit road the following lap, and be able to start towards the rear of the field. So we'll see if any of these remaining 9 come to pit road this time by. If they do, that should put Bob Seminara back to the race lead as he won the battle off pit road against Josh Metallic, Dante Ricky, Ken Roberts, and Donnie Garrett. And I think there's the indication right there. Got most of them coming in. Looks like Crivello might be the lone driver to stay out. The State Farm Dodge, number 56. All right, so early caution. I feel like I ask this all the time when we have an early caution. It's kind of rhetorical when it comes to these drivers, but you know, you end up having the double wide, the 3 wide in the early going. Usually that kind of has the drivers an opportunity to, you know, get the adrenaline down, the early race jitters, settle in and get yourself prepared, you know, for a little bit calmer of a run in preparation for around a green flag pit stops. But more often than not, when I end up posing that possibility, the green flag drops and only takes them about a lap and a half, 2 laps, and we're right back to 3 wide racing.
Yeah, and that's usually how it goes. You know, these drivers don't waste time, and that's what makes it exciting.
We have an opportunity to run down the point standings coming into tonight. Again, remember, it's a win and you're in situation. For the drivers that win, they have to be inside of the top 20. For drivers that point their way in, they have to be inside of the top 12 in overall points. Right now, Grant Wesley holds the points lead over Chuck McClure, both former winners this season. It's 8-point separation between those two. It'll increase, obviously, with McClure taking a provisional here tonight. JT Mayhew, who's had a great start to the year, he's in a tie for 3rd place with Rodney Sullins. They're 13 points back. Tim Nofsker, last week's winner, jumped up 6 spots to 5th. He's 15 points out. Brian Schilling, former champion, is 6th in points. He's 20 points out of the points lead. Josh Metallic is 7th, 23 points out. Bernie Mobbs right now in 8th place. He's 28 points back. Kelly Causey, who is also not in the field tonight, he is using a provisional this evening. He's 9th in points, 31 points back. Chris Emery, he's right now in a tie for 10th with Dave Melson. Those two are 33 points back. And then Jeremy Jeffries currently holds down the final playoff position right now. 12th place, he is 34 points back. But you know, if you're wanting to kind of look around that cut line for some battles here in the early portion of the season, you got Jeremy Jeffries right now with the 12th spot. Greg Palmer and our pole sitter Bob Seminara currently 2 points behind him for that 12th position. So, you know, it's not necessarily too early to start thinking about that cut line and who's above it, who's below it, who's within striking distance, because we got that extra race as opposed to last year. Last year we had 8 regular season races. This year we have 9. So there's going to be more points on the line there when we end up getting to that regular season finale. Not too early, I don't think, to start strategizing, to start getting that consistency, get yourself ahead of that cut line so you don't have to head into the regular season finale, not necessarily in a must-win situation, but near as.
Yeah, absolutely. You never want to be stuck in a must-win situation, because that just
unless you're Graham Wesley.
Well, yeah, but then it brings so much more pressure to you.
So Jeff Crivello elected to stay out, and he will be the one to lead us back to green. He will have a disadvantage as far as fuel, about maybe 3-4 laps shorter on fuel than everybody else that came to pit road here under this first caution of the evening. Bob Seminara will subsequently line up on the inside line in 2nd place, with Crivello getting lane choice. Then it will be Josh Metallic rather in 3rd, Dante Ricky in 4th, and Ken Roberts will complete the top 5. Looks like everybody is on the lead lap. I didn't see anybody with an extended stay on pit road, so I believe everyone should be up to speed. I don't know if you could ever call it a harmless wreck at a super speedway, but that might have been as close to a harmless wreck as we could get all season. Lap 8's going to go on the board when the pace truck in this case dives onto pit lane, and we'll turn them back loose once again. Trying to remember the last time a Dodge has gone to victory lane. I think it was last season with Brian Schilling, if I recall correctly. And it's a Dodge that's going to lead us to the green. It's Dodge, Chevy, Toyota. Your top four. Long ways down here to the restart zone. Towards the end of the tri-oval to the start-finish line. Crivello waiting on the flagman. Running a little high there.
That's what I was thinking too. It's running slightly high. But
I don't know if he's planning on dropping back as soon as we go green or what the case was for that. But then he lined up with Dante Urquijo. Whoa, they'll stack up in the back there. Richard Martin, Wiley Coates. I think the 43 might have actually blown second gear. That looked like it might have been a gear loss for Richard Martin.
It's either that or maybe he just restarted in the wrong gear.
Might have, because we ended up seeing, I think Wiley Coates and a number of others jumped up around the outside of him.
Hey, we've all been there. We've all restarted in the wrong gear before.
Oh, yeah. A lot
Why
of times,
is everybody going so fast? Oh,
a lot of times it's you throw it up into the high gear, fourth gear to be able to save fuel, and then by the time you get around to the restart, you're like, oh, we're going. Hold on.
Wait, where's everybody going?
Like Richard Martin has recovered, lost about maybe 3 or 4 positions, but he is in the pack. He is up to speed, so he is good to go as drag race to the line. Give it to Josh Metallic by a little less than half a truck length. He'll get his first lap lead of the night.
Inside lane's a good lane to be at first, but once the tires start to wear out during a run, you'll see them kind of migrate a little bit further up.
And you're starting to see that third line form again, and we ended up talking with some drivers, I believe it was last week, about this. Once that third line starts forming and you have all the drivers down the inside line, the advantage that we usually see with that middle line, it goes away. It almost becomes your typical middle line of super speedway where you're in the proverbial sucker hole and it goes nowhere. As Jerm Lewis, I believe, in the 616 is the one that's on that top side there. Donnie Garrett's going to jump up. Oh, no. Almost contact, almost 4 wide there through the tri-oval.
Yep, some of these trucks want to hop up at the very last minute, but it's too late. The momentum's carrying them forward.
That's the thing, too. You have to time when you're going to move up to that third line perfectly, because if you don't, it's going to stall out the momentum of that third line.
Caution is out. There's a wreck, I think,
Mark
in turn
Paglia.
3?
Yep.
Mark Paglia and Grant Wesley. Oh,
They were running 33rd and 35th at the time, so this was obviously towards the rear of the field.
Yeah, it was. 21 was also involved in it, too. I couldn't tell what that was.
That would be Brian Ronson, the Rose Light.
I think there was a stack up. Yeah, there was a stack up, and everybody just kind of ran into the back of each other.
If we can pinpoint where the contact was made, and
to be going into turn 1.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, looks like it started further up ahead. Was that JT Mayhew, I think, with Milt Surratt behind him. Grant Wesley got into the left rear of Milt Surratt, and then Paglia and Brian Ronson, they were behind the 88. There's Brian Ronson, refiring and driving away. Tom Dixon had lost the draft, so that caution helped him out. See if we can go a little bit further up and see just where that checkup began. I think I see some daylight between JT Mayhew, and I can't tell who that is in front of him. Might be the 92 of Bobby Farrell. I think that gap might have closed up quickly, and maybe the 338 backed up, and everybody behind him didn't get the message.
It happens.
Oh, actually, whoa. 338 actually got his left sides down on the apron. Caution out for the second time here tonight. at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. I'll be surprised if anybody up at the front comes to pit road, and as soon as I say that, as we cut back, there's your leaders on pit road. This just to take the opportunity of pitting under caution rather than under green, extend that fuel window maybe.
Just about.
Gonna have a handful of drivers that are gonna stay out here again. Looks like Jeremy Jeffries, who did not get the random draw qualifying spot that he wanted. He ended up being placed, I believe it was 37th, no, 38th on the grid. So he'll pick up a bonus point for a lap led. Remember, we talked about the fact, too, he is the cut line driver, 12th in points. So getting a little bit of added insurance. Tim Nofsker, last week's winner, stays out along with Doug Kulik. We'll see if any of these drivers are going to elect to come to pit road under the second lap of caution. But for now, working our second yellow of the evening, we're going to step aside for a commercial break, courtesy of our sponsor, Ultimate Garage Floors. You're not going to miss a bit of what's going on here under this yellow flag, as we're going to be taking you FRN side by side.
A whole lot of nothing.
The following presentation of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series on the Flatout Racing Network is brought to you by Ultimate Garage Floors. Ultimate Garage Floors is very active in the garage remodeling community, staying current with the latest technologies and custom configurations so that we can bring you the highest quality installations. As a Northern Virginia Exposy flooring installer, we focus on garages and commercial flooring to perfect our craft and bring you high results. In a space that gets as much wear and tear as your garage, you want to be able to trust that the cabinets and flooring we install are ready to withstand against high traffic and regular use. That is why we include a lifetime warranty with our services so that you know we stand behind the quality of our work. To get started with a free consultation, call us at 540-931-9006 or visit us on the web at ultimategaragefloorsva.net. That's ultimategaragefloorsva.net. We welcome you back here to Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway, working our second caution of the night here. Gonna get the lights on the pace truck this next time by. Let's see if we can dial up one of the drivers here. We mentioned him up inside of the top 12 in the point standings. Had a very consistent start to the year. Let's see if we can talk with Bernie Mobbs. Hey Bernie, Michael and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got him?
Yeah, sure, loud and clear.
Oh, I mean, that 31 looks pretty spiffy out there tonight. Very easy to be able to see those colors. We were commenting on the fact, very consistent first three races here, up there currently in a playoff spot via points. But how about tonight? Do we see this 31 maybe in victory lane?
I sure would like to, but so far not so good. But keep dodging the wrecks and starting the back again here. So we'll work at it. See what we can do.
Dude
Now with
just
these,
about had a car on your roof there, or on your hood there, and that big wreck to happen on the back straightaway. Talk about that wreck from your point of view.
Well, I saw everything go sideways. I just kind of got on the brakes and tried to dodge as best I could. I know I rubbed a few fenders, but no damage here, so I'm kind of happy still.
how's these 2 early cautions playing havoc with your potential pit strategy for the remainder of the race?
Well, I've kind of caught up with the pit strategy thing for the leaders, so I took an extra pit stop there and got on the same sync with them, so I should be okay.
All right, well, we appreciate talking to us. Good luck out there. Looking forward to seeing you work your way back up to the front, and maybe hopefully we'll be talking to you by the end of the night.
Well, thank you very much. Have a good guys race up there, huh?
Absolutely. Bernie Mob's gonna restart, it looks like, based off of scoring from the,
Third, 24th.
yes, 24th position. He'll be back there with some good trucks. Try to work his way up there to the front. You saw during the side-by-side, Jeremy Jeffries got the lap led, then dove onto pit lane. He can restart back in 30th place, as Tim Knopfsker is going to be the one to lead us back to green, looking for back-to-back victories here in season 59. Jason Scheck is going to be second place. Brian Schilling, Bob Seminara, and Josh Metallic. That's going to be the top 5 when we return back to the green flag. We're going to keep an eye, if we can, try and spot where the 43 of Richard Martin is. There he is. Looks like he's going to be on the outside of, I believe it's row 9. We'll see if he gets up to speed this time, if it was just maybe a misshift, or if he indeed might have lost second gear. We'll definitely get a telltale sign on this upcoming restart. Green flag back in the... Boy, they make you wait. And now it's in the air. I believe the 43 may have lost second gear, Michael, because I just saw there the driver we were talking with, Bernie Mobbs, gave him a big shot maybe to try and get him up to speed to be able to jump up to third gear.
That's very well possible.
And usually, in terms of super speedway racing, that is one gear you do not want to have lost, because especially with late race restarts, it's very difficult to be able to go from first to third, and usually it doesn't benefit you here, at least in the RTG Super Speedway series, the Tally Challenge, to restart in first gear, because you're almost already into second gear when you're running the pacing under 70 miles per hour. So it's going to be very difficult for that 43 if we do get a late race yellow and he is anywhere up towards the front, as all of a sudden we saw the middle line kind of get abandoned on those first 2 runs. Now a lot of drivers have jumped up there between the white hash marks. Knopfsker, Schilling, Jason Scheck, Bob Seminara. We do have a line forming on the bottom and a line forming on the top. We'll see if the middle can hold court. Seminara jumps to the bottom. Donnie Garrett jumps to the top to lead the third line. And suddenly that middle line's starting to get broken up a little bit there. Only 5 trucks up here at the front, staying committed to the middle line. Donnie Garrett, he was trying to get to the right rear of Dante Ricky, but Dante's going to jump up in front of the 77. Ken Roberts jumps up in front of the 84, and now Roberts will lead the extreme outside line. And just like this, Knopfsker, Schilling, and Scheck, they've got contenders on both left and right.
3 wide is always fun. There's only 3 cars in the middle lane, though, so I don't expect that middle lane to do. Oh, boy!
Oh, no!
Oh, my gosh.
This time we got flips. Oh, gosh. Bob Dixon and Joe DeSpirito.
It seemed like everybody flipped in this one.
Wow.
Well, big one number 2.
Yeah, and pretty much the same identical place where we had big one number 1. That time, though, we had, 3 near flips? This time, I think we had at least 4 trucks that got airborne, and I'm seeing a lot more damage on some of these machines.
I think there might have been a bad bump between, yep, right there. There might have been a bit of bumper grab for, oh, what's his name? Dante Ricky. Right there, yep.
Spirito's got roof damage. Craig Hagley has front end damage.
Oh my lord, so many cars.
That flip with Dixon and Spirito, those two trucks just
Yeah.
merged together.
That had to have been a bad bump on Dante Ricci's part. Either that or it was bumper grab. Let's see, I'm gonna try to ride with them here.
We're gonna give you as many
Yep,
angles as we possibly can.
Yeah, it was a bumper grab, I believe.
Pick a driver and see if they make it through. I think
Yeah,
there was
for real.
only about maybe, what, 6 or 7 drivers that came back to the caution.
Let's see. I'm riding with the
Wow.
driver myself right now on my point of view here.
Greg Palmer caught air. They're still flipping back there. I see Mike Rogers. He went over late.
Wow, Jessica Shelton made it through that? Oh, well, she did, but she spun herself out avoiding the last little bit. But
A
she
couple
just
of drivers just came to a dead stop watching it all go down. I think Tom Dixon was one of them. I think Grant Wesley might have been another.
Look on right on board the 20 car if you get a chance. Just watch how this unfolds.
All right, we're gonna watch this here with. Oh gosh, look at that. Knopsker up and over. Spirito and Dixon. Dixon's got roof damage now. Mike Rogers went up and over. I don't know who flipped him. We'll try and find out. Aglia back there. A lot of drivers got bumped and spun out trying to slow up for this wreck. Find the 011.
Oh my
There
lord,
he is.
this 143 trip. I'm just watching the replay. He got suplexed.
You know, I actually thought of an F5. That was a combination right there of Keith Bynum and I believe...
It's a combination of Keith Bynum and Bork Laser.
Yes. It was Nate Balser, I think, was the other truck that flipped Mike Rogers over.
But yeah, if you haven't already, right on board the 20, she made it, like, I don't even know how she made it through that. Oh, I just can't stop watching that 143 get suplexed.
Find the 20 of Jessica Shelton. Riding on board with the number 20. Carrie Bombard, I believe, just ahead of her. Oh, Brian Schilling went over. I didn't know that. Find that out courtesy of the onboard. Wow.
And then right at the very end.
Didn't hit anything, though.
Yeah. That's one of those sudden, like, oh, I didn't see him there.
Grant Wesley has been involved in a couple of incidents here tonight. Put him back deep in the field. Might have been a good thing in this case because I think if we go on board with the 88, we're going to see him come to a dead stop here on the back straightaway. There you see, he sees the wreck ahead. And look at this parking lot. Wow. He gets through. JT Mayhew gets through. I think I just saw Brian Ronson. He was able to drive through. Bernie Mobbs. Just talked with him. I think he got through the wreck. Let's see.
He might have. That Grant Wesley had to really do some maneuvering around some cars for that one.
Some of these drivers, if they were taking a defensive driving course, I think they would have passed. This is on board with Bernie Mobbs.
Yep,
Oh, makes contact there.
Oh, he does make a little bit.
Yeah,
so
a little bit of contact with Bobby Farrell. Oh, and then
big hit there.
Might have been Paglia, I think. It was either Paglia or Elliser. I think it was the 28 slid into his driver's side door.
Oh, I mean, that still was...
In comparison to what some of the others had for a ride, that's minimal.
For real. Looking at right there, the wreck starts happening from the... Oh, my lord.
And it looks like with our third caution of the night, it is our first retirees.
Oh, the 011 also flipped over, too.
Yep. Ryan Ronson staying out, leading a lap. Two drivers
143
out
and
of the race at this point. Yeah, I think you were just about to
yeah,
mention that.
143 and the 45 and the 50. Is it the 45 or the 55?
It is the 45, yep.
45.
Both Bob
okay.
and Tom Dixon.
Hey, are you
Logan.
willing to pull up another driver to talk real quick?
Sure.
Because I got some questions. Let's pull up
Okay.
Jessica.
All right. Hey, Jess, Michael and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
Man, I tell you, we watched that wreck happen on board many different trucks, and you were definitely the one I spotted the best with all your with the wreck avoidance there. Tell me, just how scary was that in front of you?
Well, it's not really that scary when we're not exactly, when there's a wreck that's way already ahead of you, you're already kind of slowing down a little bit. I think Terry slowed down a little bit more than me, and I barely got in the back of him, but I was lightly braking as well, so it was just one of those moments, and then kind of lost it a little earlier where there was another vehicle kind of like spinning out. I didn't see it like a little bit later on down the track, and for some reason I just lost control of the truck, and it's fun. But yeah, I mean, just one of those days right now, or those nights where it's just kind of incident after incident after incident everywhere I'm looking. So just trying to stay on this bottom here is the best option you have to avoid wrecks. That's kind of why I'm holding this bottom as much as I am tonight compared to normal.
Are the incidents, do you think, that we're seeing here in the early going because of the big field that we've got? Because we're seeing checkups have been kind of part of these early yellows. Bumper grab has led to it as well, which I think the byproduct of that might be checkup as well on the straightaways.
It seems like it is a little bit. It's just like South Michael, if you're fifth or sixth car back in line, you don't want to bump because it's that accordion effect, and there's going to be some checkup. And I think with this big field, and then they're going 3 wide every so often too, you got to watch out for that. And it's just people have different letting off points than other people, and I think that's what's causing a slight checkup, like you're saying. But it's plate racing. It's a product of it. We all know that.
Absolutely. Well, it was fun going with your onboard, watching you dice your way through that. You gave us some views of some trucks that we didn't even know were flipping over from your point of view. So see you up there inside of the top 5. Hopefully we can get into a long green flag run here, so we'll let you get back at it.
All right, have fun, guys.
Ready for the restart here. It'll be on lap 22 of 66, so we're nearly a third of the way through. Third restart of the night. Jeff Crivello back out in front after the cycle of strategies. Bob Seminara in second. Then it was Metallic, Emery, and Shelton. That's the top 5. Jeremy Lewis, Donnie Garrett, Rodney Sullins, Grant Wesley, Bobby Farrell. That was the top 10 as outside line did not get going there for Jeff Crivello. Seminara is going to be clear off of turn 2.
Going down here. Oops. Yeah, Bob Seminara's got it. The inside lane, like we said, at restarts and stuff is where you want to be at, but after a while, the tires start wearing out. It just becomes a little bit hard to hold that inside lane, Seth. I mean, you both know that.
Definitely is, and this is going to be interesting now as well because the 2 previous cautions that we had, there was, we alluded to it, a light contact. There were some harder hits taken in this most recent caution, and some of the drivers that I'm looking at potentially that might be somewhat off the pace. Mike Rogers in the 011, Joe DeSpirito in the 24. We know that he's got roof damage. Craig Hagley had some pretty good front end damage on the 32. So it'll be interesting to see if those drivers, if they've got the aero damage that it's going to just completely outright take them out of the picture, or if they can stay in the draft, if they can stay up to speed.
Only time will tell on that one.
Gosh, we had one on the apron back there. That was Glenn Harris. As they're 3 wide around his area. Richard Martin, Wiley Coate, Keith Bynum back in that area. And they're getting squirrely up here at the front. Metallic, little loose there through the tri-oval. Shelton into third, Garrett to fourth, and Grant Wesley up here in that fifth position. Up here for the most part, you've got drivers that either were ahead of the wreck when it took place or were able to slow down to avoid the wreck.
Oh, man.
Shelton and Wesley were two drivers that were behind the wreck when it was occurring.
I'll tell you, the way these cars just move around and switch lanes so abruptly like that, it really gets your blood going for a second.
Yeah, very darty it seems like tonight, right? And I think that might be what's leading to checkups and drivers moving around to the middle and the high line, which there is a third line forming. It's quite a ways back around the 27th position, but Jeremy Jeffries is up there trying to make something happen. He's got about a quartet of drivers there with him. Dante Ricky was up there. Couldn't tell who the others were. Jason Scheck and JT Mayhew, I think, might have been the other two, and they're going to go up there again. Mike Mangialardi now going to go up there also. As dominantly, you've got about the top 12, 13 who were in the middle line. As soon as I say that, teammates Chris Emery and Jerm Lewis are going to jump up to the outside of Jeff Crivello, try and swing around him for what would be 6th and 7th. But they got nobody up there. Everybody is lined up behind them. Now they've got Terry Bombard. If I recall correctly, it was either last week or 2 weeks ago, Terry Bombard and Jerm Lewis, they were working very well together. Terry Bombard was pushing the heck out of Jerm and was actually making some good progress when they were both up on that outside line, so keep an eye on that combination here.
I'll wait and see only 3 cars trying to get the outside lane working there.
I'm not certain. I didn't see him involved in the wreck, but Brian Ronson is currently being scored about 11.5 seconds off of the race leader. And Billy Elliser, Joe DeSpirito, they are also being scored as off the pace, as is Mike Rogers. Rogers and DeSpirito, we kind of wondered about since we saw the damage they sustained. But jury's kind of out on Elliser and Ronson as to whether or not their cars, or their trucks in this case, being off the pace was due to crash damage sustained from the last yellow. Actually, Mike Rogers on pit road. There's DeSpirito. There's Ronson. I do not see with any damage. I think he came to pit road under the 1 to green. Maybe he didn't get back to the field for the restart. And there is Billy Elliser also all by his lonesome. And there you see the front end damage on Craig Hagley. That has now manifested itself with him losing the lead pack. So it looks like 32 drivers will be up in this lead group at this point in time. And we got a wreck. No caution, I don't think.
Off
that was
the
Bob
racing
Seminaro.
surface. Yep, off the racing surface.
The second truck, I couldn't tell who it was.
Oh, he blew an engine.
Oh,
blew an
no.
engine.
The pole sitter.
He blew an engine right off there. Yep, and that, oh man, that's tough.
Wow.
I just watched a grenade. That's gotta be. If he was the race leader too, that's gotta be a real terrible feeling.
Man, and that's why we avoided the caution, because when the engine expired, he got down below the yellow line, which is considered off the racing surface, and so.
Oh, I don't think he got by choice down there.
Well, true. That is true. Oh, I'm looking, and it looks like a couple of other drivers are back in the garage area too. Greg Palmer. Don't know what happened with the 22, but he's listed as out of the race. And Mike Rogers, we saw him on pit road. He's brought his truck back to the garage area. So that brings the total up to 5 that are going to suffer a DNF here tonight. Is Jessica Schultz in the Pennzoil Platinum Toyota Tundra out in front. Donnie Garrett there, but now Grant Wesley forming the outside line with Josh Metallic, Brian Schilling, Rodney Sullins up there as well. And there's the 43 of Richard Martin, who we're pretty certain does not have second gear.
That's it. What do you say forming the outside lane? I'm pretty sure the outside lane was already formed.
Well, true.
This guy
it's
over
still
here
an outside line, and it's still a formation, so point still stands.
Does it?
It does. Couple of drivers that might also be losing the draft right now. One of them, Cy Jones, the other, Jeremy Jeffries. Let's check on that and see. Robbie Nices as well. Yeah, Jeffries has lost the draft. He's got that right side damage I see on the Oreo Chevy Silverado. Try and see if there's another camera angle here when they come through turn 3, but it almost looked like there was. Yeah, I think there is right side damage, and I can't tell,
Oh, they're
maybe
getting
potentially roof damage.
They're getting very close up here again.
Let's follow this 3 wide, about 5, 6 rows deep. Now settles out to about 4 rows deep.
Well,
That's Chris Emery leading the outside line, the extreme outside line, that is.
Well, we're almost halfway through this race, Seth, and this track has dwindled down to give it to about let's see here, maybe 26 cars at most, 27?
Yeah, at least competitive ones, yeah. First couple of cautions were non-factor in terms of taking drivers out of the conversation for the win tonight, but that third and last caution we had, that was more than likely, I guess we would look back and say, the turning of the tide in some drivers' future here for this race. How the turntables. Grant Wesley out in front here, trying to be the first multi-time winner on the season. Pick up his second win in 3 races, yeah.
Was just informed that we are roughly between 9 to 10 laps away from pit stops.
Woo! And we nearly end up having our 4th caution there. Contact between the 2 Toyotas of Jessica Shelton and Dante Ricky. We're under caution, actually. What we are under caution for, I'm not certain.
Oh, Robbie Nice's maybe blown engine? Sitting on the racetrack?
I believe I just saw him heading for pit road. Can't find the 54. Is he off the track now?
Yeah, he is off the track now. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. He just kind of went all by himself, went off into turn 3, hit the wall, and then suddenly blew his engine.
We'll look and see if we can find it. Yeah, I noticed that they all started spacing out there, going into 3. Oh yeah, I think the engine did blow up on the 54. Here it is.
He was on the apron, but the cars were racing at him, so that's what brought the yellow out.
Well, he also, as we see here with the replay, right there is where the engine goes, and he is up on the racing surface for a time. Maybe just long enough that the caution came out. It was Billy Elliser that entered into the vicinity. That's 2 drivers in the last, what would it have been, last 4 laps that have had engine problems here tonight. Now, there's a couple of factors that could have come into play as to why this is, but I have to wonder if maybe, at least maybe in the case of the 54, I don't know necessarily about the 712 because I think he was ahead of the incident, but while visibly we don't see damage maybe on some of these trucks, there could be enough damage where running in the draft, it could cause the trucks to overheat, could cause them to rev out, top out.
Could be just a lot of mechanical issues too.
Could be too. That's one of the kind of Achilles heels of super speedway racing, is a lot of times, inevitably, there always seems to be that one driver that gets the random blow up. And looks like we've got 2 of them here tonight, at least up to this point. So Robbie Nices now back in the garage area, along with Bob Seminara, Mike Rogers, Greg Palmer, Bob Dixon, and Tom Dixon. And remember, Bob Seminara was the pole sitter coming tonight, but he was also sitting tied for 13th in points, 2 points behind the cut line for the final playoff positions. This was certainly not a DNF that he wanted to suffer here this evening. Good news is, though, going to have 5 more races to be able to try and get up into the top 12 in points, including that extra race that drivers did not have in last year's regular season. No drivers were a lap down, so there will not be any lucky dog. We've not had to pass out a lucky dog so far here tonight. Everybody at the time of our 4 cautions has been on the lead lap at that moment.
Heard there was a incident on pit road involving Dante. Under this caution here.
Can find that. That was at maybe Glenn Harris, maybe Tim Nofsker. We'll see here. Yeah, Dante trying to come out of his stall. Glenn Harris trying to get in. Dante probably would have come off of pit road, probably 3rd, 4th, 5th position, and he crossed the line right there in 16th. So a lot of track position lost for the Mug Root Beer Toyota. Terry Bombard, he just came onto pit road. Rodney Sullins just came into pit road. Craig Hagley stays out. Craig had not led a lap yet today, and we saw he was off the pace with his front end damage, so getting the bonus point here while he can. Lap leaders here this evening. Let's run down that list, as there's actually been a lot of drivers out in front tonight. 6 laps led, that's the most by a driver this evening. That's Josh Metallic. 5 laps led apiece by Jeff Crivello and Tim Nofsker. 2 laps led for Grant Wesley. And then 1 lap led apiece for all of these drivers. Craig Hagley, Brian Ronson, Jessica Shelton, Jeremy Jeffries, Ron Hagelin, Terry Bombard, and Cy Jones. Actually, correction, the most laps led was Bob Seminara, the pole sitter. He led 9. I didn't see him that far down on the list. We've still got at least another lap of pacing here after this one. Lights should go out atop the pace truck this next time by. So while we got an opportunity, we're going to step aside for a quick commercial break with FRN Side by Side and a word from our sponsor, Ultimate Garage Floors. The following presentation of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series on the Flatout Racing Network is brought to you by Ultimate Garage Floors. Ultimate Garage Floors is very active in the garage remodeling community, staying current with the latest technologies and custom configurations so that we can bring you the highest quality installations. As a Northern Virginia Exposy flooring installer, we focus on garages and commercial flooring to perfect our craft and bring you high results. In a space that gets as much wear and tear as your garage, you want to be able to trust that the cabinets and flooring we install are ready to withstand against high traffic and regular use. That is why we include a lifetime warranty with our services, so that you know we stand behind the quality of our work. To get started with a free consultation, call us at 540-931-9006 or visit us on the web at ultimategaragefloorsva.net. That's ultimategaragefloorsva.net. Getting ready for our 5th restart of the evening here at BSR. Grant Wesley, the race leader, going to bring us back to the green flag with Josh Metallic, Jessica Shelton, Chris Emery, and Jerm Lewis. That is the top 5. Going to be 30 laps left to go here this evening. And there you see the 43 of Richard Martin again having to kind of dodge out of line.
He said welcome back to BS. I thought he was going to say be our guest.
Be our guest. You know, I may end up doing that sometime. You never know. Grant Wesley, Jessica Shelton, Josh Metallic get themselves single filed up here down the middle line on the backstretch. Inside line, I was going to say it was being led by Jerm Lewis, but he quickly jumped up there to the middle line in front of Chris Emery. So now it's Donnie Garrett on the bottom of the racetrack. Going to pick up Wiley Coate and Jeremy Jeffries. How about Keith Bynum in the 63? Last time by, he was scored, I believe, in the... I just had him, and then I just lost him. He was scored
I'm giving you the slow
in 13th, and now he's up to 8th. And remember, Keith Bynum started shotgun on the field. We've had drivers, I believe, in the past be able to do the last to first challenge. I don't know if we've had a driver do it in a 40-truck field. If Keith Bynum were able to do that here tonight, I think that'd be the first time that's ever happened in a Tally Challenge race.
Well, I also want to point out, not that it's anything new, but our leader, he's finally made his way to the front.
Yes, indeed. Grant Wesley.
My voice went to the south.
No, if it goes high, that's still the north, isn't it? Going up?
I don't know.
Let us know in the comments below. But Grant Wesley, Josh Metallic now with Bob Seminara's hardship. Seminara had the most laps led. Opportunity here for either the 88 or the 39, or even anybody else still right now, to be able to snipe away that most laps led bonus point if they can lead in the double digits here this evening. And I want to remind everybody that next week we continue on the schedule. Next Thursday night, these drivers are back at it at Talladega Super Speedway for the 5th race of the season. I think you could technically say the halfway mark, which we crossed here tonight, is the halfway point. Actually, no, it'll be next week. Next week, halfway point of next week's race will be the halfway point of the regular season, with 9 races for these drivers to prepare themselves for the playoffs. As looking here by the last time around, I believe Glenn Harris, Brian Ronson, they were the last row. We've got 32 drivers up in this lead pack, 34 drivers still running on the lead lap at this point in time.
Look at the inside lane coming.
That is Keith Bynum in the 63, Donnie Garrett there in the 77. Dante Ricky, Wiley Coate there as well, trying to get up there and push this inside line. Kind of get the feeling it's only a matter of time before we start to see a third lane form, as middle line still prevails. Top 3 up there will get clear. Jerm Lewis trying to do the same. 4th truck in line. Not quite clear here. Now might be clear down the back straightaway, and he'll try and tow Chris Emery along with him. Mentioned Bernie Mobbs kind of under the radar here in the first 3 races in terms of consistency. How about Chris Emery as well? Jumped up 2 spots in the points last week, 10th in overall standings, trying to make the playoffs for, I believe it would be the first time in his career. I think he was in the playoffs. I'm trying to remember which series it was. I think it might have been Bare Bones a few seasons ago. I remember he had a win, and I think it might have been Bare Bones when he made the playoffs there, but he is yet to make the playoffs here in the Tally Challenge. Maybe season 59 is the season.
You never know.
A couple of drivers that we were kind of wondering about whether they were going to be up to speed or not. We saw that Jeremy Jeffries had lost the lead pack. He is the 5th truck on the inside line right now, so it looks like he is still up to speed. And the other driver that was kind of wondering about was Cy Jones. He is up to speed as well in the 28th position, so I'm going to assume that under that last run that Jeremy Jeffries had lost the pack. Cy Jones dropped back to help him, and those two were tandeming to try and keep them both on the lead lap just in case the caution came out, which indeed it did. And I'll tell you what's making me a little nervous right now, Michael, is that inside line. I'm seeing, again, a lot of dartiness there, a lot of left and right out of Keith Bynum and Donnie Garrett and Dante Ricky. That says to me there's some shoving going on right now to try and counter the speed on that middle line.
Yeah, a lot of shoving going on too, but the problem is, again, they just lose all that side by side and drifting around. It's just costing them the momentum. You can see that they'll do good for a couple laps and then they'll drop back because they'll suddenly lose the momentum they had. It's, you know, when your tires begin to wear out, it's so much harder to stay on the inside coming off of these corners that you just drift up, and then the more you turn your wheel, the less your car actually wants to turn, if that makes sense.
It does, yeah, and you mentioned it too when we were during our commercial break. These drivers still have one more pit stop before the conclusion of this race, and you know, if it ends up taking place under green flag, these drivers have not made a green flag stop yet tonight. So I'm not going to say it's cold turkey that they're having to make.
Don't you even jinx it either.
Well, yeah, I'm not trying to jinx it, but I mean, we've gone now 44 laps. We've yet to make a green flag pit stop. I know that obviously these drivers, they've made green flag pit stops here before. They would have used practice and happy hour to be able to test that as well with wherever their pit stall is based off of the random qualifying results. But it's going to be the money stop. And it's the first time tonight that you're potentially going to be making that pit stop under green. The pressure's going to be on.
Yeah, but I think me and you have talked about it before. It's a little bit difficult to hot pit here at BSR than it is at Talladega.
Yes.
So we could see these drivers come in conservatively.
Yeah, we've heard from drivers where they've said hot pitting here at BSR as opposed to Talladega, it's entirely different. They had to kind of adapt their the way that they approached pit road when we ended up putting BSR on the schedule and alternating between it and Talladega starting last season's schedule.
I was also just informed too, probably about 9-10 laps away from pit stops.
So about halfway through a fuel run. That means that they'd be pitting roughly around, what's that, 55, 56?
56, yep.
About 10 to go, which means that for the most part, these drivers would be coming down and taking on only a can of fuel. Too many laps on the board to attempt the half can strategy.
Well,
Grant Leslie continues to show the way here at 20 to go.
But do you try to take tires and maybe try to get your car some maneuverability?
Okay, so honestly, I don't think so. The big reason, there is the possibility that your pit crew makes a mess up. And if they have an air wrench jam or something wrong like that, that could be 2-3 seconds that you lose, which you cannot afford to in the closing stages.
Well, to be fair, your crew can make a mistake just by fueling up the car as well.
That's true, but you lessen the opportunity for mistakes, I think, if you don't take tires. That inside line, they're not going away. They're still trying to make something happen. Keith Bynum still trying to move that line forward. Still got the same drivers behind him with Garrett and Ricky, Coate, Jeffries, Milt Surratt there as well. They are starting to lose some numbers, but here's the thing. Right now, Keith Bynum is side by side with Brian Schilling for 6th. If we get closer and closer to that pit stop, you're going to see this top 3, 4 that are clear of the bottom line. They're going to move down to that yellow line, and that's going to help that inside line to be able to keep whatever track position they currently have.
Jessica thought about it right there. She was peeking, but stayed in line.
And that little movement there, that kind of helped the inside line. Keith Bynum was able to get up alongside of Jerm Lewis, Jerm Lewis for 4th place, almost alongside Metallic for 3rd. Let's see if they can do the same thing again this time through 3 and 4. almost draws even with the 39, does the 63. Can he keep the momentum going? Nope, gonna lose it. Still, I think, around the left rear quarter panel of the Geico Chevrolet. Now back alongside of Jerm Lewis. That inside line is slowly but surely, about maybe half a truck length every lap. They are making gains on the outside line. Mark Paglia in the 28. Might have had an unscheduled pit stop, not certain. He's currently scored a lap down in the 34th position. And there you saw it, Grant Wesley, Jessica Shelton, moving down to the inside line here in preparation for the final pit stop of the day.
Yep, they moved down to the inside lane now. We'll see what happens. If thinking about what, about six-ish laps until we start seeing.
Yeah, about 6 laps max, I would think. Grant Wesley leading that lap. Now it's a 3-way tie for most laps led between himself, Jessica Shelton, Bob Seminara, 9 apiece. Grant would have the most laps led if he is to complete this lap out in front. As right now, Toyota's up at the front of the field. So far this season, we've had 2 Chevrolets and 1 Toyota go to victory lane. Chevys, of course, of McClure and Nofsker. The Toyota of Grant Wesley. Jason Scheck.
One car coming down pit road.
That would be the Budweiser Chevrolet of Jason Scheck coming down all by his lonesome.
Better to do it with the closed or with the open pit road than a congested one.
Yeah, that's a very good point. The only problem is, though, you're coming down pit road without any friends, without any drafting partners. No guarantee that once everything cycles around, you're going to have somebody that you're able to work with. And we should also remind everybody as well, if we end up getting these green flag pit stops and something happens below the racing surface, there will not be a caution thrown. So we talk about mistakes on pit road. How about potential mistakes getting onto pit road, depending on how big your party is coming for the pits?
That is true.
Pretty even here with these rows. Look at that. About what, 14, 15 trucks on the bottom, 14, 15 trucks on the top.
One mistake
all the way back there.
mistake.
I think we've got, what, 30 trucks, I think, up in this lead pack? Yeah. So I think it's exactly 15 and 15 on bottom and top line. Jason Scheck completed his service. He's out, still on the lead lap at this point in time. Grant's going to have to be probably one of the first ones onto pit road since he's led a majority of this run. I'm starting to see some radios lighting up. We have some pitters this time.
Let's see who it is. Caution! Caution, caution, caution.
Caution out. Right.
Oh, there's a big wreck. Richard Martin's flipping in turn 3.
Ty Jones involved. Joe DeSpirito was on pit road.
And look, Jason Scheck got saved by that caution.
Yes, he did. Matter of fact, Jason Scheck might be the leader when we go back green because everybody else is going to have to come to pit road. He's already taken his service. Joe DeSpirito's on pit lane, lost a lap on pit road. We'll have to wait and see with scoring if he is going to be one of the lucky dog drivers. The other one will be Mark Paglia. Richard Martin already out of the race after being involved in this one with
look
Cy
at these drivers
Jones.
on the apron.
Glenn Harris, I think, was in this.
These drivers running around on the apron are really low on fuel.
I'm pretty sure that Grant Wesley was going to come to pit road that time off. Cy Jones getting into the back of Richard Martin, who then gets into Glenn Harris. The 43 and the 8 both go up and over, and there's the barrel roll you were talking about. Boy, tough break there for Richard Martin. I don't know what it necessarily is with the trucks, but it just seems like they like to grab each other and flip each other over.
They like to suplex.
They do.
Suplex City.
Take another angle of it. Looked like the dreaded checkup again there, actually, Michael. I think Richard Martin was checking up for Milt Surratt. Cy Jones didn't get the memo, runs into the back of the 43. Brian Ronson, it's hard to tell. He's down in the grass there. I don't know if he got involved or not. Like he's all right. Saw there immediately 43 of Richard Martin towing it to the garage.
Out of the top 10, we have a couple drivers that stayed out.
Like our stream is back. Not sure what was going on there. Apologies for that. Yep, we are back and good to go. Joe DeSpirito, even if he doesn't get the lucky dog, he'll probably take the wave around here. And where is that truck? Jason Scheck. There he is. I think he is going to be the one to inherit the lead. Got Craig Hagley out here, but I don't think he's come to pit road yet. Cy Jones has not come to pit road yet, and he was involved in that wreck.
And neither has Glenn Harris.
Yeah, and he was also involved in that wreck. So I think it is going to be Jason Scheck who's going to cycle out to the race lead. And like you said, amazing timing on the caution for him. Been a long time since Jason Scheck has gone to victory lane here in the Tally Challenge. Maybe tonight is the night. We talked about the first 3 races, the drivers that we are used to seeing running up at the front consistently night after night have found victory lane here for these first 3 checkered flags. This particular track last season, especially in the first couple of races when it made its debut on the schedule, brought about some Cinderella stories. The car that we see right there on the bottom of your screen, 23 rather, Doug Hulick.
Oh, yeah.
He ended up making a fuel strategy call. The timing of the yellow worked out for him, and he was able to pick up his first career victory. Maybe tonight, Jason Scheck. Maybe the stars have aligned for him to get a bit of a Cinderella story.
32 of Craig Hagley stayed out as well, so he's the current race leader.
Don't see how he's going to be able to make it on fuel. I do not think. No, he has not come to pit road yet.
I was going to say, unless he pit without us knowing.
I have him listed with making 4 pit stops. Well, maybe, because that would be the same number of pit stops that Jason Scheck has made. Maybe he has made a pit stop already. The one thing I'd be concerned about, though, with the 32 is he's been off the pace ever since he got that front-end damage from the big one that we had back in the first half.
I'll say, unless he plans on coming down this time.
Yeah, we'll see. Comes Paglia around
also,
the
by
top.
the way, I was just informed, too, that even as of 15 to go, it is officially raced back to the yellow flag.
It is indeed.
Somebody made a pointer that you always say it's 10 to go, but it's actually 15 to go.
Yep, that is true.
But you always say 10. Shame on you.
I am ashamed. To quote the shrimp from Finding Nemo. I can't remember what his name is. Is it Jacques? I think it's Jacques.
Oh yeah, I am ashamed.
Mark Paglia working his way up there to get the lucky dog, and looks like Joe DeSpirito. I don't know if he's getting the lucky dog or the wave around, but he'll be back in the lead lap as well. We'll have 33 drivers on the lead lap here when we go back
might
green.
be able to get the wave around, yeah.
And Hagley is...
He's below the yellow line, so I think he's coming.
Well, I've had drivers fake me out before here in this series, so let's see.
Oh, there he goes.
Yep, he's in. All right, so that will give the race lead for this upcoming restart to Jason Scheck. Donnie Garrett, no correction, Josh Metallic will be second, Donnie Garrett third, Jeff Crivello's up to fourth, Jerm Lewis fifth, sixth will be Jeremy Jeffries, Chris Emery in seventh, Jessica Shelton eighth, Brian Schilling ninth, and Dante Ricky will complete the top 10. How about the Dodgers here in the closing stages? You got Crivello, you've got Schilling, and Wiley Coat all up inside the top 10 right now.
Got some switching going on here.
Drivers having to swap around their rows with the 32 coming to pit lane. Impressive run tonight for the 0 of Mike Mangialardi. Actually, Thought I saw him up here at the front. Did he just drop back? Yes, he did. But he's still in his first start on the season. Still running, still on the lead lap. Scoring has him in 26th right now. For the most part, has kept his nose clean. I think he got a little piece of the big wreck that we had for our third caution of the night, but still been up to speed, still been in this lead pack, and might be able to get up here inside of the top 10, maybe top 5 late, as there's going to be 10 laps to go this next time by. All drivers can make it on fuel, so at this point in time, Michael, the gloves are off.
Yep, 10 to go. It's all out. If you're in the back, you're making your way to the front, and theoretically, we're going to be racing to that. Well, we don't got anybody a lap down right now. Everyone's back on lead lap, so 4 to go. You think?
Yeah, I
would
would
say point of no return.
Well, it doesn't. It still looks like we're getting about 3 laps of pacing, and even when we had drivers on the lead lap in the early stages, so I think you still would be looking around the completion of lap 62. It's a weird thing because I think there actually have been a couple of points near the end of the race too where we've seen drivers that are all in the lead lap. We get to that lap 62, the caution comes out, and we think, oh, we're going to get a 1-lap shootout, and for some reason, NR extends that caution and ends the race under yellow. So I think we're still looking at that completion of 62 target lap, regardless of the fact that we currently have all 33 of our remaining drivers on the lead lap as green flag back in the air. Oh, and we're stacking up in the back, and there we go. JT Mayhew, Ken Roberts. There was another truck there. I couldn't make out who it was. Might have possibly been Rodney Sullins.
Racing back to the caution flag.
Yep, we're staying here with the race leaders, following this battle back to the yellow.
That was definitely a bumper grab issue. I can tell you that right now.
Donnie Garrett shoving Jason Scheck. Jessica Schultz and Dante Ricky trying to make something happen up there on the outside line, the third line that is. He'll tuck back in behind the middle groove. Now they're going to try it again through the tri-oval. Like Jason Scheck, he's going to, well, as soon as I say that, Josh Metallic gets a nice run through the tri-oval here, but Scheck will hold them off, and he will lead us under caution number 6. Didn't look like when we saw the incident there near the tail end of it, like the 3 or 4 drivers involved sustained a whole lot of contact. Ken Roberts, JT Mayhew, Rodney Sullins. Let's go back and see what happened there at the start-finish line.
This could have been the best possible solution for Jason Scheck, because now he'll have less laps he'll need to defend that lead.
Right.
And if we get another wreck immediately on a restart, that could be it.
Here's a look at it here. Yeah, it looks like maybe one driver tried to anticipate the restart. Oh, yeah, right there. You see him already stacking up. Nate Balser, Keith Bynum, JT Mayhew, and then when the green drops, a lot of bumping there, and then I think that was Bernie Mobbs gets into the back of Mayhew, who gets into the back of another truck. Milt Surratt's in that. Ryan Ronson. And Roberts got some rear end damage. Rear bumper looks like a frowny face. Dave Melson, I don't know if he got involved or not. He was slow leaving the scene. Yep, he got a piece of it. That is Rodney Sullins you saw there going to the right. Doug Kulik was involved.
Down pit road? Oh, no, they didn't. Okay, I was like, man, I was wondering if they came down pit road because there was just so much of a gap there.
Ron Hagelin got a little bit of it, but he kept it going straight. Get one more view of it here. Follow the 55 of Ken Roberts. Bit of a stack up on that inside line there too. Nofsker, back to Roberts, back to Sullins.
My radio's pretty interesting, Seth. I'm learning about typhoons apparently in one of my ears.
Ah, okay.
That seems to be the driver conversation topic going on down the racetrack right now.
Well, when you're running under pacing, you got time for conversations like that. I think it was Monday night, and running with these drivers in the Bare Bones Racing Series, and there was a point under caution. I think the main topic was, I don't want to say fast food restaurants, but just like takeout restaurants. And the main topic of conversation was Wawa and Popeyes and a lot of those different places. So we're gonna get back green.
We should
think.
have about 5
Gonna be
laps
before
to go.
62?
I don't know. I feel like we should have about 5 to go, maybe.
Now we are going to get a lucky dog. I did notice that just before we went green, Mike Mangialardi was mentioning how he was having a good showing here tonight. It stayed out of trouble for the most part and was on the lead lap. He fell out, lost 2 laps here under this last run. So he will get at least one of those laps back here via the lucky dog. I'll have to see if he gets both of them back or not. He has returned back into the server. He is back on the racetrack, but he is the only truck that is 1 lap down, and that is what kind of brought up the question to you, Michael, of whether we would get back with the completion of lap 62 or not, because with the lap truck, we are going to have that extra lap of pacing that we wouldn't have had if we had had all the trucks running on the lead lap. So
this
we'll wait and
should
see.
be lap 3 right here, maybe. So
Yes.
perhaps we should see the lights go out on the truck this time.
This next time by, yeah, which means we would go green on lap 62. Start of 62, the completion of 61.
No, if they go, well, yeah, you're right. I was going to say completion 61 on 62, which would be about, what, 5 to go?
Yep. Right around that.
So at that point, if a caution came out, I don't think we would be going back green.
It's interesting when I look right now at our random qualifying results at the beginning of the night. At this point in time, only 2 drivers that started up inside of the top 10 are still running inside of the top 10. Josh Metallic rolled off the grid in 3rd, and Donnie Garrett rolled off in 8th. Those 2 drivers right now are scored in 3rd and 2nd, respectively. A lot of drivers that had the benefit of good qualifying results have not exactly had the best of evenings here at BSR. Bob Seminaire, who started on the pole, had an engine failure. Glenn Harris went airborne in a flip in a wreck. He was on the outside of the front row. Craig Hagley's got front end damage. He was 5th. Bill Surratt's been involved in a couple of wrecks. He was 6th to start the race. Ken Roberts was involved in this most recent wreck. He was 7th on the starting grid, and Greg Palmer, he was 9th the starting lineup, and he is out of the race. And 38th is where he finishes. Bob Dixon actually started this race from 10th place, and he got maybe the highest we've seen a truck so far this season there on the back straightaway in that 3rd caution of the evening, that big one that saw not just Dixon, but about another maybe half dozen drivers either get airborne or flip over.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting, to say the least. Let's see. We'll
Yes.
see, Seth. Is the pace car light's about to go out? We'll have to
I
wait.
think they might.
Let's see. Yep.
So lap 62's start.
So if you're Jason's... Jason... Jason Sheck, as I try not to have a stroke here. Do you hope to get a good restart and stay on the bottom, or do you get a good restart and maybe migrate to the top?
Man. The tough thing for him right now is he's got the guy that was keeping him out in front alongside of him and Donnie Garrett. So,
Engine blow up in the back. And there it is. There's another caution lap.
that's the 21? No? Who
Oh,
is
that's
that? 79, 079.
Nathan
Nathan Balser.
Yeah.
And caution lights come back on.
That's going to be one more lap of pacing, so we're
One
going to go
more
green
lap,
with
so
4
we
to
are
go.
now going to be in point of no return regardless.
Yep.
One more lap of pacing. To answer back to your question, though, I think maybe now you're going to have to go up to that middle line so you can hook up with the 77 again. Because the two of you are working together on the inside line, but there's absolutely no way in the closing stage of this race that you're going to be able to finagle it for the 39 to let the 77 down.
And
in
he's
front.
out. The 079 just teleported back to pit lane, but it was a clutch issue with the 079.
That is the, third mechanical problem that we have seen here tonight, along with Robbie Nices and Bob Seminara. That'll leave us with 32 drivers running, 31 of them on the lead lap, but Mike Mangialardi got one of his 2 laps back. He is still 1 lap down, so we'll get the lights out this time by and hopefully be going back green for what will more than likely be the final time tonight. We're going to give the disclaimer that we normally do in this situation. Once the drivers cross the line to take the green flag, complete lap 62, it's basically the point of no return. Next flag will end the race. We will stay up at the front with the race leaders and watch the battle back to the start-finish line and the incidents, replays that we have to do post-race. That is what we will do, but we will stay up here at the front to see who picks up the checkered flag in the 4th race of the season. Try and take you as far back here in this running order as we can. Jason Scheck out in front, Donnie Garrett in 2nd. Josh Metallic 3rd, Jerm Lewis 4th. Jeff Crivello will be 5th, Chris Emery 6th. Jeremy Jeffries is 7th, Jessica Shelton in 8th, Brian Schilling 9th, and Dante Ricky is going to complete the top 10. Wiley Coate is 11th, Keith Bynum 12th, Tim Knofsker 13th, Bernie Mops 14th, Billy Owiser completes top 15. Then it's Ron Hagelin, Grant Wesley, Craig Hagley, Joe DeSpirito, and Glenn Harris. That is your top 20. 21st is Doug Hewlick, Cy Jones 22nd, Terry Bombard's 23rd, Mark Paglia 24th, Milt Surratt in 25th. And then the rest of the drivers currently scored on the lead lap. You got Rodney Sullins in 26th, Bobby Farrell 27th, Dave Melson in 28th, 29th, Ken Roberts, Brian Ronson in 30th, then JT Mayhew is the last car or truck on the lead lap in 31st position. Mike Mangialardi will, this next lap, bypass Nathan Balser for 32nd, but he is 1 lap down, and that's more than likely where he'll stay, even if a caution were to come out here in the closing stages. Would not be able to get the lucky dog and get back on the lead lap. All right, well, we've worked 6 cautions so far here tonight for 26 laps. Can we get this final 4-lap shootout under green flag conditions? We'll have to wait and see.
So I noticed real quick as we're getting ready to take the green flag that where is he at? Where did he cross the line? He's in 17th. Can the 88 get back up here in just that amount of time? Can he pull a Dale Earnhardt?
Have to wait and see. Here is Jason Scheck waiting on the flagman. Green flag in the air.
Hiccup, excuse me.
Who gets the better push? Whoa, interesting. Did the 2 hang back to let Donnie Garrett down that inside line? Well, we said there was going to be really no way that the 77 could tuck in behind the 2. They worked it out where the 77 was able to get in front of the 2.
Yeah, but now where will the pushing go? Is it going to stay high or is it going to be down the low side?
You've got Jerm Lewis and Chris Emery. They're pushing hard up there on that outside line. They've got Jeremy Jeffries up there with him. Brian Schilling, who's had back-to-back weeks of good finishes. Jessica Shelton's up on that outside line as well. You got them stacked up pretty evenly, bottom to top, about maybe 9 on the bottom, 9-10 on the top. This time by 3 laps to go at BSR. And the outside line, for the moment, prevailing. Half a truck length advantage for Jerm Lewis.
More trucks on the outside right now.
Longer way around the racetrack, but more in the throttle time, especially off the corner. Near contact there between Donnie Garrett and Jerm Lewis. A lot of movement. Donnie Garrett's going to have to bail out of it, and that's going to kill the whole inside line. We're 3 wide, almost 4 wide back here. Josh. Dante Ricky. Trying to force Keith Bynum up. They're looking almost 4 there. They settled it, I think.
Go to the inside.
And look at this up at the front. Jeremy Jeffries jumps to the inside with Jason Scheck against the duo of Emery and Jerm Lewis, and those two, they're sitting ducks right now. Nobody helping them in that outside line. Jeffries to the lead.
Now everybody switches back up to the outside. 77 going to stay down low. Oh, he's got the 4. Oh, my Lord.
Wow.
They're all over. He's going to take the momentum to the outside.
Now Jason Scheck up to the top. Ryan Schilling there to help him. 1.5 to go. Look at Jeff Crivello. Big run. Oh,
there it
contact.
goes.
Jerm Lewis up into the air with Jessica Shelton, Ron Hagelin, and others. We're racing back to the checkers as there's nearly a dozen drivers littering 3 and 4. It's Scheck on the top. Jeffries on the bottom. 3 wide through the tri-oval. Back to double wide. It's going to be a photo finish here. Who's going to get it? Looked like Jeremy Jeffries going to get his first win of the season here tonight.
And that was honestly just a big time product of people not wanting to lift because it's the final couple of laps.
Jeremy Jeffries has won a championship in just about every series under the RTG banner, with the exception of this one. This victory tonight going to put him in the playoffs as he'll look to add a Cali Challenge Championship to his already impressive resume. Interval at the line, 42 1/1000ths of a second between himself and Jason Scheck. Crivello, I believe this is his second podium finish on the season, as he's going to end up with 3rd. Like Brian Schilling and Donnie Garrett cross the line as the top 5. But we had a lot more trucks flipping there with that final wreck of the evening. We will be going back. We'll be looking at it all, but the white flag was displayed the last time by. This time by, it will be the checkers.
They're just waiting for the pace truck to catch up.
Yeah, that pace truck's taking his sweet old time, isn't he?
Everybody gets black flags for passing the pace truck.
Now picks up Jeremy Jeffries. And through the tri-oval for the final time. Truck number 1 going to finish P1 here tonight. Jeremy Jeffries, who takes the checkered flag at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway.
Let's see, where did he start? He started 39th.
Wow. Almost the last of first.
The entire top 3 though. I mean, you got Jeremy Jeffries, Jason Scheck, Jeff Crivello, Brian Schilling, Donnie Garrett, Chris Emery almost had it up there. Josh Metallic, Wiley Coate with a nice top 10. Bernie Mobbs, who was so close, but 9th place, and then JT Mayhew comes home 10th place. Oh, and very interesting to point out too, 11th place with damage from the very first accident, Craig Hagley.
Well, there you go. Soldiered on. Salvaged probably a better finish than what he was destined for. Mid-portion of the race, he was running back, I think it was outside of the top 30.
Which goes to show you don't give up when you're racing in a super speedway.
Absolutely. Fortunes can change in a matter of a corner.
Yeah, unless your name is Michael Norman.
Only when you're having fun.
Not having fun anymore.
Might be difficult to see this truck if it gets lost in a cloud of smoke with that milk there.
Meanwhile, in the background at Talladega Super Speedway, or Talladega, at Burnt Screwdriver Super Speedway, they're playing Dancing Queen to celebrate his victory. We obviously can't play it because that's copyright, and we don't want to get sued.
I think wouldn't it be? It would be the that song from The Wizard of Oz. Oreo, double stuffed.
Stop! You're gonna get us copyrighted.
You know, probably will. Who was it? Was it 20th Century Fox, Warner Brothers? Who made The Wizard of Oz?
No idea. Oh,
I don't
that was
know
the next burnout. Now he's gone.
Here's your official Standings from this evening's festivities here at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. I actually said that Crivello, this was his second podium. Actually, I'm remembering back to last season when he had a podium. This is actually his first podium on the year, his first finish inside of the top 10. But he had an 11th, I believe it was. It was an 11th place finish last week, jumped up to 17th. Yeah, 11 spots to 17th in points. Finish tonight might put him up into a playoff spot. He might jump up into the top 12 as we had a lot of drivers from our top 12 have struggles here this evening. Another consistent run for Brian Schilling. Don't know, but think we'll have to wait for official scoring, but I think
That it's
Grant
very bad.
Wesley is still going to have the points lead, but it's going to be very slim over some drivers like JT Mayhew,
But it's
Brian Schilling, and Josh Metallic.
it's never good when you think.
It is not good when I think, no. Okay, here's a look at the drivers that were involved in incidents here tonight. Doug Kulik, Jessica Shelton, I do believe, along with Dante Ricky, they were drivers that were collected up in that last, well, we'll call it last lap incident. It wasn't officially the last lap, but by all rights and purposes,
It
was the
last
final
lap
lap
under green.
under green, yep, of this race, which we are now going to go back and take a look at the replay there of what ended this race under caution. The first truck that I saw out of shape was Germ Lewis.
Yeah, it was a combination of bumping going into the turn and then kind of just, I guess, pushing gone bad, I guess, in a way.
A tough break there for Germ Lewis is the fact that the lap prior, he was the leader. Boy, big hits there. Keith Bynum, Grant Wesley, there's Hewlick, Haglia, Billy Elliser, Dave Melson, Ken Roberts. Oh, Doug Hewlick up and on his side. It did land back on all four wheels. Rodney Sullins, Terry Bombard. There's last week's winner, Tim Nofsker, Brian Ronson, Bobby Farrell. There's Elliser. And you said it, Michael. I mean, we're racing back to the caution. At that point, you see the wreck ahead of you, but you can't lift.
It's not racing back
to
to the caution. It's just you're racing to the white flag here. You're not lifting. It's 2 laps to go.
Right.
So
you see all those positions up for grabs there, and if you're lucky and the seas part, that's a lot of points that you're able to pick up as well.
Hey, it's happened to me.
On both ends.
Yeah, for real. I mean, I've been reluctant. I've won a race on iRacing from the seas parting. It was. It can help. It can hurt. It can make you laugh. It can make you cry.
That is the beauty or the curse of super speedway racing.
Beauty and the curse. Sorry, I got lost for a second.
And I don't think you're going to find your way back. Maybe some driver interviews will get you back on track here. Let's see if we can dial up our third place finisher, Jeff Crivello. Hey Jeff, it's Michael and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
I do believe so.
Great run for you here tonight. Highest finishing Dodge in the conversation there. If you got that one other lap, that one final lap there under green flag conditions, it looked like you were in prime position to maybe be able to make a move.
It was close. I just, usually at the end, everybody splits up and I'm left nowhere.
Yeah, it was some pretty exciting racing out there. It's just you all knew the line was coming. What was the plan for those final couple laps? I mean, you had both the outside lane that was going pretty good, but the inside lane was holding its own there.
Just pick a good drafting partner and just take what it gives you, because usually at the end nobody's going to go with you, or if it's just one car. I was just happy to push the one, and that's about it.
So we were talking during this broadcast. It just kind of seemed like tonight that the cars, or the trucks in this case, they were a little bit darty. Like they seemed to kind of dart left, dart right on the straightaways. They were drifting up a lot more. It seemed in the corners, a little bit more difficult to be able to keep the bumpers lined up and keep momentum going, which is why I think we end up seeing the checkups and a lot of the different lines kind of bail out on each other. Did you see that from the 56 truck? And what do you think from the driver's point of view kind of led to that?
Oh, I see it all the time. I mean, they're just wicked lane changes, and they figure if they don't do it when they wanna, and it's like, left and right, back and forth.
Well, we ended up talking about the fact last week had a good run, jumped up into the top 20 in points. A podium finish here tonight is going to gain you some more point standings. Might put you up into a playoff spot. So, I mean, can you keep this consistency up heading next week?
That's the big question. Win one day, blow up the next.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, Jeff, obviously a great run for you here tonight on the right side of the spectrum there of avoiding that big one in the closing stages. Congratulations. Before we let you go, the floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
First of all, I'd like to thank Josh. He should have been a school teacher. He does amazing with this series. And then I'd like to thank my team, Terry Bombard and his little boy JT. We always have a good time racing because we're talking constantly and having a good time.
Jeff Crivello, he brings that truck home in the third position here tonight under the lights at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. Congratulations on a great run, racking up some good points, and best of luck next week.
Thank you, guys, and I'll have to watch some of the broadcast and enjoy it. But thanks a lot, guys.
Absolutely. Jeff Crivello, your third place finisher tonight on the podium. I believe this is also the first time this season that this driver has captured a top 3 finish. Let's dial up the runner-up this evening, Jason Scheck. Hey, Jason, Michael and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Got you guys.
Oh, man, so close to picking up that first victory on the season. Been a while since we've seen you go to victory lane here in this series. I mean, 42 one-thousandths of a second when you guys came back there to that caution and white flag. But it certainly looked like you wanted this one here tonight. The timing of that last caution working out perfectly for you after you had just been to pit road. What little more did you need through the trial to be able to edge the one?
We just, I couldn't ask for a better pusher than Brian Schilling. He was behind me, and we were trying our damnedest to get it. And I wanted that win bad. And, but all in all, I was just happy to be up there and competitive again. I've had a rough stretch here the past several seasons, I should say. But, so I got to thank Brian for giving me that push up there to even have a shot at it. And, of course, Jeremy racing me clean there at the end. It was just fun to be up there.
Yeah, it was a very fun race. We were keeping an eye on you there. That caution came out, saved you very big from going a lap down there. So that was perfect time right after coming down. We had mentioned it, said it's better to come on pit road when it's empty than when it's congested. And that caution definitely saved you to put you in the right spot.
Yeah, just kind of the way the night was going with the cautions, which normally we're not as bad as we kind of were tonight. It was full moon or something, but I kind of had a feeling that I might just duck off by myself before the big pack came on pit road, and sure enough, it definitely saved me and put me in to give me a chance for the win there.
So we saw the caution prior to the race-ending caution. We saw you and the 77 working together. That got you out in front for the upcoming restart. But then you didn't have him behind you because the two of you crossed the line first and second, so you're lined up side by side. And we were trying to figure out, if you guys had any kind of strategy to get lined up again. Obviously, it looked like that was the case. You let the 77 in front of you. So was that just a kind of an alliance for the moment and then settle it out when it got towards the end of the race?
Actually, no. He just got the best of me on the restart there. I guess I was just a little slow on the get-go there, and he went in front of me. So I I just kind of followed him for a little bit there, kind of weigh my options and try to go high on him.
A great run for you here tonight, Jason. Good to see you back up there inside of the top five. You mentioned you've had a rough stretch there of finishes here in the Tally Challenge, so congratulations on a job well done. I should climb you up in the point stands. I believe you jumped up 13 spots here tonight, so making those gains in the early portion of the season when the points are all close together. Congratulations on that. Before we let you go, we're going to give you the opportunity for some thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
Yeah, I just like to say thanks to all the drivers that race here and keep coming back week after week. And you guys are what makes it great over here. I'd like to shout out the guys that make RTG run, David Cannon, Sean Prime, all the staff really. Special shout out to Wiley Coat and Mitch Bombard for the website stuff, and FRN for the great broadcasts you guys do. And yeah.
Jason Scheck, he's your runner-up finisher here tonight at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. Hopefully this is a sign of good things to come next week at Talladega. Best of luck.
Hope so. Thanks, guys.
And let's see if we can go down to victory lane and dial up the driver of the number 1 truck, Jeremy Jeffries. Hey, Jeremy, Michael and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
I do. How you guys doing?
Well, coming into tonight, you were holding down that 12th and final playoff position. Leaving tonight, you're locked into the playoffs with this victory here this evening. How good is that to get the weight off your shoulder and now just basically be focused on racking up those playoff points, maybe go for that overall regular season championship as well with those playoff bonus points on the line?
It's a huge weight off the shoulders, man. Getting that win there, that was definitely a relief because I was kind of, like you said, I was teetering on the edge of that last playoff spot there. So to be locked in, as long as I can make the last few races, it feels good.
Let's talk about that final restart run to the finish there. I mean, you were up top, down low. You were picking a lane there. How tough is it to being back to try to get up to the front and just pick the lane that you need to be in before all the big mess happens?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, you really don't know on nights like tonight where the safe place to be is. I mean, we had wrecks in the front, wrecks in the back, wrecks in the middle. It was everywhere. So I got lucky there. Got a great shove from behind and was able to make it up there to the front. And then coming to the checkers there, Crivello just gave me a huge push that got me just ahead of Jason at the line.
We talk about the fact that the last 3 races now, we've had full 40-car fields. You talk about the weight off your shoulders, and we've heard from the other past 3 winners here these past 3 weeks about how much of a relief it is for them. With the fact that we've had such big fields and we've ended up having, as you said, not really knowing where those cautions, where those wrecks might take place, does that maybe put a little bit of added importance on getting these victories here, especially in the first half of the regular season, really, where you then don't have to worry about 2-3 races away from the end of the regular season, almost having to be in a must-win situation?
I mean, you just look at poor Joe DeSpirito. I mean, that guy's a multi-time champion. He's had the worst luck this season. And, a win could solve a lot of those problems for anybody that's having a tough season. So getting that win, even if I finish, 25th on down the next few weeks, it still probably means a playoff spot. So it's huge.
Up 7 spots here tonight, going to be 5th in overall points heading into next week at Talladega. So going back to what I said before we end up bringing up the first question, I mean, what is the goal now? Is it to find victory lane another time, maybe a couple times here in the regular season, get those bonus points, or are you more eyeing those bonus points for the regular season championship?
I think right now it's just more about trying to be consistent and keeping up in the points. I don't know if I necessarily need to go for the wins now, so I think I'm just going to try to play it safe, as boring as that sounds, but I think that's the goal now.
Well, great run for you here tonight. Obviously, you bring home the victory. I think you were in just about every area of the field here this evening, whether it was in terms of strategy or in terms of maybe getting slight bits and pieces of a couple of our cautions here tonight. But you finish in the position that everybody wanted to by the end of the night. You get P1 here this evening at BSR. Congratulations. Before we let you get back to your celebrating, we're going to hand the mic over to you for some victory lane. Thank you, sponsors and shout outs.
All right, first off, again, thanks to Jeff Crivello. I mean, that was a heck of a push there at the right time to get me that win. So thanks to him. And good job to Jason Check and Jeff to finish the top 3. It's good to see those guys up there. Thanks to FRN for doing these broadcasts. RTG, owners, admins, drivers, everybody, my family, friends, XFM teammates, and just everybody watching out there. Thank you.
Jeremy Jeffries, he is your latest winner here tonight in season 59 of the RTG Talladega Challenge. Takes the checker flag here tonight at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. Congratulations once again. Best of luck starting next week at Talladega as we start to enter into the second half of the regular season.
Thank you.
And as Jeremy Jeffries continues to celebrate his win here tonight, joining the likes of Tim Nofsker, Grant Wesley, and Chuck McClure. So far, Michael, 4 races, 4 different winners, all 4 of them heavy hitters that I think you could make a case for them maybe even being the final 4 by the time we end up having the championship hanging in the balance in the final 2 races of the season. It's going to be a lot of fun here in these next 5 weeks to see who else gets added to the list, not just through finding victory lane, but of course in the top 12 in overall standings as well.
Yeah, to definitely be a fun, fun next couple of races. At the bracket series starting up again here soon too. It's gonna be interesting to say the least, and I can't wait to see who's gonna come down to it. I mean, honestly, Seth, I can't really pick a final 4. If you could even if you could think of everybody who's locked in right now, I don't think you can pick a final 4.
Maybe a big reason why you can't pick a final 4 is what we just heard there from Jeremy Jeffries. You don't know if the race is going to play out in your favor or not. He alluded to Joe DeSpirito. I believe he is 26th in points after tonight. Multi-time champion has just not found luck. A driver who looks hot here during the regular season, just like that, blink of an eye, could be involved in 2-3 wrecks in back-to-back weeks and taken out of the playoff contention moving on to the next round. So, if we continue with this trend of the full fields and what we've been seeing here with the unpredictability of the timing of these cautions, the positioning in the field of where these cautions take place, yeah, I'm with you. You may not be able to determine who a Final 4 is going to be just based off of what's happened the last couple of weeks alone.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't wait to see it.
Next week, we're going to be at Talladega Super Speedway. 3rd time these drivers will take that track here in season 59. Hope you guys will join us for that. That'll be next Thursday night. Green flag to fly at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Congratulations once again to Jeremy Jeffries on the victory here tonight at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. And Michael, I want to thank you for joining me up here in the booth this evening.
Absolutely. It was fun. Glad to be here. Love it every time.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to our coverage here tonight of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. For Michael Norman, I'm Seth Cole. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday night as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank